Morning, everybody. It's the 18th of February. We are Signal Centre Talking Ball. Just myself, Joe Neighbour, and Ian Coleman today. How you doing,
Morning.
mate?
Yeah, very well, you?
Yeah, good, thank you. You know, Steve this morning, he's off running his son around to athletics. So
Lovely.
just the two of us today. Let's have a quick look at how we did yesterday first up. Obviously, it was a quiet day with the US holidays and therefore not a whole lot of movement in markets. As is evident here with my trade on Euro Oz, which was up 1 pip at the close, or 0.02
Would have been
R.
nice to have that overnight with
Yeah, it's had a
the
nice move overnight, actually.
with the Aussie weakness.
But not to be, unfortunately. You had Aussie New Zealand, which was a nice 1.35 R winner, which was pretty good going given the quiet conditions yesterday.
Yeah.
That worked out quite nicely and still looking okay, I think.
Yeah, stalled a bit overnight. Sort of even that little, it's had a jolt to the upside after the RBA minutes, but it's now sort of reversing a bit. And I think the Aussie still looks weak to me, really,
Yeah,
across
it's all selling off across the board today, isn't it?
across most currency pairs. So.
And Steve was stopped on, sorry, no, he wasn't stopped. He lost 0.69R on silver. That was pretty choppy yesterday, but contained within a fairly narrow range. So with that, have you got a new idea for us this morning?
Yes, I'm going to look at the Dow Wall Street 30 rolling cash, as most people have it on Trading View. It is US 30 USD. Let's have a look. A couple of things here, really. This is the daily chart. Held these fibs pretty well if you're an Elliott wave enthusiast. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then we had that decent move to the downside, and then we've broken those previous highs. But we are seeing some divergence up here. Again, it's a bit fudgy, isn't it? But I mean, Elliott wave enthusiasts will probably say this is a fifth wave extension if it reverses from here. But what I do like is the intraday chart, which is the 4-hour chart. It did break that triangle, descending triangle formation to the downside first thing. And it's just pulled back inside. So I think there's still, having another go at it now, there's room for a break lower. So I'm looking to short the Dow 2276.
29276.
Yeah, 29276. Targeting 28960. And with a stop at 29372.
Okie doke.
So
difficult market
to
short because
I
the
know.
US just love buying it up, and especially as they're back from a holiday today, they could be looking to buy that dip. But if you get it right, there's big rewards to be had on the downside because the sell-offs are pretty tasty.
Yeah, it's like a guy was saying this morning about Apple. Obviously, they've come out this morning with saying they're going to miss their next guidance note or target, and that was due to a slowdown in Chinese sales, but also
coronavirus as well, I imagine.
Well, yeah, most of the places where they get their parts from are closed.
Yeah.
Which is causing a massive issue. So we've seen that aggressive sell-off overnight. And one guy was saying, normally you'd say it's an opportunity to buy the dip for Apple, with it being the US's most valuable company. But
if that dip buying stops in the, as you say, US's biggest company, then could be cause for concern.
Yeah,
maybe a wider sell-off.
Yeah, exactly.
I certainly think it needs it.
Yeah, I do. A correction at least.
We shall see.
What are you looking at, Joe?
So I'm looking at dollar CAD. Just this is the weekly chart first of all. So we're trading in this bullish channel, and trading within a corrective kind of wedge pattern over the last few months. We're actually going back to last year, back to January last year. Looking on the daily chart, just a more zoomed in version of that wedge. Fairly range bound prices, but some aggressive moves from the lows. If that's to be a continuation, or if there is to be a continuation higher, this is what I'm looking at on the hourly chart. We've got a decent trend high. Obviously, we overshot it a little bit there, but that was quickly overcome with a big move higher. In recent hours, we've seen this corrective wedge form, and we've seen a nice break to the upside from that. And it looks as though, in my eyes, we could be heading higher in the short term. And if the momentum continues, I see us heading back up to these previous highs that we posted here back in October. So looking for a move to around about 133.45. We're currently at 32.60. And I'm going to place a stop just below that candle there, the breakout candle at 10 o'clock last night, which comes in at 132.26.
I like that.
So
Well,
2.6
come off overnight as well, isn't it? You know, bit of global uncertainty, I suppose.
Yeah. So news-wise, just in Europe yesterday, because obviously there wasn't much coming out of the US, the German Bundesbank has stated that the coronavirus outbreak threatened to disrupt global supply chains and pose a cyclical downside risk to the economy. So that's the first we've had of a central bank as big as Germany sort of coming out and saying that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really any surprise to many people. I think there was always going to be some sort of knock-on effect as a result of this. We've got confidence in the Eurozone outlook suggesting that remains fragile. Again, not really much of a surprise. And then obviously we had this weakness in overnight in the US dollar, which seems to be being brought up again today.
Yeah, there was I think was it Taiwan? I think it was Taiwan. They sort of their central bank governor or something has come out overnight as well and said that obviously the spread of the virus over there, that they're worried about the economic effect. And I think there was another report out as well that said that obviously China has loads of these shows, doesn't it? You know, bloody, they have a show for sofas and a show for something else and a show for tableware, and 14 of these shows have been cancelled since the start of the coronavirus. And they reckon it's wiped billions.
Yeah, that's going to have a huge economic impact.
Off sales, and they're still restricting travel, especially flights, obviously. And although a lot of factory workers have gone back to work, they're saying that if there's any problem with machinery, then normally they have to fly people in from different provinces, and they won't be able to do that because as soon as you get on a flight internally in China, you get incubated for 2 weeks.
Right.
So,
I mean, in terms of sort of containing the outbreak, according to Chinese sources yesterday, the chief medical officer expected a peak during the second half of February in southern China and a nationwide peak sometime in April. So clearly there are going to continue to be more disruptions as a result of this, and that will impact upon confidence. And I guess it'll only be a month later when we start seeing this data come through where we're really going to start seeing it in the numbers.
Yeah, I agree.
Sterling wise yesterday, that continued to gain a little bit of support from expectations that a UK budget would sanction a big increase in government spending. Although markets were still waiting for a definitive news whether the Chancellor's statement would be delayed or not from the scheduled March 11th date. So there's a little bit of uncertainty surrounding that. In terms of data-wise today, we've got UK unemployment data due at 9:30. Then we've got quite a big number due out of Germany. That's the German ZEW or the ZEW figure. That's an economic sentiment index. That is expected to fall to 15 from 26, so quite a big slowdown in that number.
21 and a half here, but it's still
a big jump lower.
Yeah.
So obviously anything less than that, then we could see further selling, particularly in German equities in the DAX and possibly in Euro crosses. So euro dollar still remains around about 34-month lows, sort of holding around there at the minute. I know you pointed out some key DMARC numbers that have been posted there on the daily and the weekly.
It's we also got sort of fib levels as well. We've got 261.8% fib and a 161.8% extension. So what we talked about before, I'll just show my screen quickly, was this sort of bad boy. But it's just holding around these lows at the moment. I think you're a brave man to buy it yet.
You need to see some sort of reversal candle, don't you? I think before you're going to have a go at that.
Yeah, I mean,
some
it's
sort of
just hit
outside day or
this
bullish
extension.
Hammer.
What is quite interesting is we've got some bespoke resistance here. So if we projected it down to this low, this 161.8%, even the pullback be a decent pullback, but it will hit resistance. So
Can you zoom that chart out a little bit? Is that a nice previous low, that resistance you've got?
here,
Yeah, the pink line. Where does that correspond to? Back. Yeah, okay.
yeah. Yeah, so it's a nice level. I think even if we get a corrective rally, I mean, euro sterling, all right, we've had an uptick, but it's only inside days. I mean, looking very messy.
So they're talking about a lot of short sellers still active in euro. I mean, if that trade starts to unwind on the back of any kind of bullish looking candle, then you could see quite an aggressive move in euro, I would
Yeah,
have thought.
I think they're quite like this at the moment. This is the dollar index. So we've got this confluence area here. 88.6% makes up quite a lot of cipher patterns. So you've got an 88.6% pullback, and you've got a 161.8% extension at 99.32, and we're just below that level. You need a decent catalyst, I think, to call.
Well, that looks a little bit stretched, doesn't it, in the short term? I think you could.
Yeah. So I think the
see a correction in that.
The dollar's looking a bit overdone, but
hopefully dollar CAD goes up first, though.
yeah, we haven't got any dollar figures today, have we?
We've got US Empire Manufacturing Index at
We've got the minutes
1:30.
tomorrow. So
and we've got Japanese trade balance at 11:50 this evening.
I think we might just consolidate before the FOMC minutes tomorrow.
Yeah, quite possibly.
But we'll wait and see.
Indeed. Okay. Well, I think that sort of concludes everything we've got to say for today. Good luck if you're trading, and we'll be back, all three of us, tomorrow.
Lovely.
Have a good
Cheers.
one, mate.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
and you. Good luck.